Okay, let's talk now about how to play Andante tranquillo, the second movement from the third sonata by Felix Mendelssohn, Opus 65, number 3, wonderful piece of music in A major, beautiful middle movement from the sonata, but it's actually the second movement, the last movement from the sonata. Usually they have 3 movements, but this is the ending. Okay, and around the most important ideas that we're going to talk about is some kind of phrasing that you need to do, and breathing, right? And registration. What does it mean, piano e dolce, that composer writes? Piano in German romantic music, and in Felix Mendelssohn especially, is 1 or 2 soft stops combined, several stops combined, very, very soft flutes and strings even. I'm using Velesova sample set, by the way, by Sonus Paradisi, and I would not use 4-foot flutes here, only 8-foot flute. On the Hauptwerk we have Rohrflöte. I could add maybe Gemshorn together. That will work. Even with a tremolet. If your organ has a nice tremolet. It could be found on the second manual as well, Gedactate. And even viola da gamba together. But the gamba is a little too present for this piece. Very, very gentle should be. Maybe with the tremolet. Let's see if it's better. I like the Hauptwerk version better on the first manual. So a couple of 8-foot stops combined, very soft. And in the pedals, basically Suba 16 and Gedacht bass 8. Like this. It would work. Okay, so let's talk about now articulation, right? Composer writes legato signs, and we should follow them also very closely. And if it's not written with legato sign, it still should be legato. So make sure you play with finger substitutions, even substituting feet sometimes, left, right, substituting to the left. I will show you the pedals. Left, right, to left, right again, left, substituting to the right, left, toe, and here is important, heel. Play with heels also, not only toes. Left toe, right heel. Like this. Okay. So that's important. Fingering and pedaling, keep figuring it out to play it as legato as possible. But when the slurs end, you have to always lift and take a breath. Let me demonstrate it for you from the start. Right here. In this music, romantic music, we need to lift exactly the half note in repeated notes. Okay, repeated notes meaning in the tenor, for example. GG. Okay, make it half note value, 16 note and 16 note rest. For example, in the same thing, in the same voice in the same measure. In the alto there is repeated A quarter note, so make it shorter, half note value. 8 note and 8 note rest. In the soprano, same as in the tenor. Okay, but whenever you see a unison, like here, between A in the soprano and the next note A in the alto, you have to lift. Also, like treat it like a repeated note. 8 note rest and 8 note, 8 note and 8 note rest, basically. So one more time. In the alto we have repeated note. Lots of repeated notes. And then, with repetition, you can jump to the next manual. Maybe softer actually without the gamba. And then jump down to the main manual. And so on. That's very important, right? Keeping the notes legato or exactly half value in repeated notes. Be very careful about that. Okay, what else is very tricky for this piece? Maybe towards the end, second page after the fermata, for example, we have nice downward motion, downward imitation. Also remember repeated note. That's probably the hardest spot in this piece. So making sure you can do it easily would require probably isolating this fragment and playing it in 16 combinations. The first is solo voice soprano, then the alto, then the tenor, then the bass solo parts, then soprano alto, soprano tenor, soprano bass, alto tenor, alto bass, and tenor bass. Then three voices: soprano alto tenor, soprano alto bass, soprano tenor bass, and alto tenor bass. And the last one would be all parts together in this fragment. Okay, make sure you can play each combination at least 3 times in a row without mistakes, and with correct articulation as well. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's a beautiful piece, not very difficult, but those important elements of phrasing are very, very crucial to get it right. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you again next time in the next training.